Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Ruse. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there. And so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Thanks for coming and chatting about the new album that's coming out very soon.
Yes,
Part two.
let's, yeah, imagine.
So soon after part one.
Yes, yes, number two comes after number one. So, like, yeah, like, you know what? It's actually pretty, we established that. So, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, tell you the truth, because it kind of gave us an opportunity to look back at our history, right?
Hmm.
But we always like kind of forward facing, it's always about what's next, what we're doing next year, what tours
Yeah.
are coming up, it's always about the future and what we're working on, right?
Yeah.
So this that we had to revisit all the songs and we had to re-record everything is kind of gave us an opportunity to look back and realize like, oh my god, it's been 20 years. It's pretty insane that we made it this long. If people were betting, for or against the band, I think the odds would be like we're not gonna make the first year probably, but here we are. And the way we pick these songs, like 30 songs that we recorded in the volume one and volume two, is like, most of them were, massive hits. So having 30 top 10 hits is pretty insane. We're not really looking at it that way where,
Mm.
again, we always about what's coming next. And it was kind of amazing to like sort of, relive that history for a second.
Yeah, and get some interesting artists to come in to guest on them as well. Baby Metal and
Yeah.
Brink. Marina Brink. It was all like it's interesting
Maria
having.
Brink. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, oh, fantastic voice. Love her voice. So them coming in sort of
Right.
add a bit of spice to it, didn't it? A little bit of freshness.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially like, like the whole idea was, well, Maria, obviously, it made a lot of sense to us because, our history, their history, tied together. People know this, but, Los Angeles, both bands. What happened, there was an LA band, a local band that never really made it, but it was a pretty good band, and it was fairly known in the local scene. So they were doing pretty well, but they never really made it. And great musicians, and when this band fell apart, half of the members of the band went to In This Moment, right? And
Yeah.
half of the members came to Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, there you go.
So we kind of, yeah. So basically, both bands started of some of the remains of this. This band was called Dead Set, and
Mm.
so the drummer and the guitar player went to In This Moment, formed In This Moment, and the bass guitarist and at the time their singer came to us. So you know what I
Right.
mean. So that's our history kind of tied together. Then they got a record deal, then we got a record deal, and we kind of came up in the same time. And then we toured together a lot. So this made a lot of sense. We have a very lot of common history.
Yeah.
And then when it came to the second installment, volume two, um, there's a song, "The End," on that record, which is featuring Sue from Baby Metal. And what happened with that is, like, when you put out the record, usually you get three singles off of a record. If it's a band that has radio potential, usually have
Mm.
three singles max. A fourth and a fifth is unusual. And
Mm.
we already had our three singles from that record. And this song, "The End," we really wanted it to be a single, but it would have been our fourth or fifth already. So it didn't. It just didn't make sense. And however, now that we re-recorded this whole thing, it made sense to put that song out as a single. But how about some feature on it, because that would make it kind of new again.
Mm.
And so when I write music, I'm very visual. When I write music, I
Mm.
have to see pictures in my head. It's kind of like every piece of music is a soundtrack to something.
Mm.
At least that's how it works for me.
Mm.
And um, and so I had an idea about this song, even though he's generally not telling people what he wrote the lyrics about, he doesn't want to lock it in. He wants you to be able to decide what it means
I love
to
that.
you, right?
Yeah.
You're probably gonna hear what you needed to hear. He's a singer, so he always says like, look, if I tell you what it was about, then as a singer, I locked in the meaning, and I'm robbing the fans and everyone from the experience of whatever this meant to you, or whatever you needed to hear. You're gonna hear. So,
Oh, brilliant.
and
Oop.
so even for me, when he comes back to the lyrics, even for me, it's kind of like, and I have my own perspective of what it means to me. I mean,
Mm.
I am also an outsider in that sense that I can make up my mind what it is about.
Mm.
And so this song for me kind of was a soundtrack to some epic battle. That's what I saw in my head. Like
Mm.
I'm a martial artist, so to me the Bushido, the way of the warrior, that was the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
and and he happened to write the lyrics exactly like that because he nailed what it was about.
Yeah.
So in the lyrics, like let the arrows fly, and it's not the end until the end. It's very much very martial arts like thinking.
Mm.
And so when we were thinking about the feature, I was like, man, I see a big samurai battle. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
And it just this has to be baby metal, and
Mm.
it has to be in Japanese. So when I finally got it together, and even did that visualizer, so like a lyrics video with some
Mm.
some little movie with it. That's what it is. So to me, this whole thing was like just a puzzle coming together. It I
It
was happy.
works. It really
Yeah.
works. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the live tracks on are really good as well. Like the fact that you're
Oh,
doing,
thank you.
Jekyll and
Right.
Hyde and things like that, which is my favorite track of yours. I think most people love that track, right?
Right.
Um, but to hear it live, because I've seen you live a few times, but to hear it live, it's a good recording. It's a really good
Right.
version of it. Mm.
Yeah, you know what? It's so two things. One is, the single is top 10 now on the radio in America. It went number one in Japan on the iTunes charts,
Mm.
number eight, I think, on the radio already. So it's
Mm.
pretty crazy that you hear Japanese lyrics. Probably this is the first time this ever happened. And major radio in America plays this song, right?
Mm.
And it's half Japanese, so that's pretty interesting, right? And it's your first time in history, it had to happen. And about the live tracks. So
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of live recordings, to tell you the truth, because to me, when you're in a studio and you're working on a record, you work on every single noise, every crack of the guitar,
Yeah.
everything that goes on the record is, it's a piece, it's art.
It's
You're
polished.
putting
Yeah.
it together and you listen, every single little thing,
Mm.
matters. And and that's kind of how I see it. So I like listening to the records because I know how much effort goes into that. When it comes to the live show, to me that's an energy exchange. That's you're on stage. There's nothing that feels like this reciprocal energy between you and the
Mm.
crowd, and that vibe. You
Mm.
can never get that back unless you go to a live show. So I always thought like a live recording is, it's never going to give you exactly what it is because you don't see it and you don't feel the people around you.
Mm.
So, however, this band was always the people's band. The fans wanted it. The people around us all thought, man, you guys are a live band. You're very typically a live band. We are road dogs, maybe, spend our life on the road. So you should have live songs. That's why we did it,
Ah.
because as I said, it's the people's band. So if they want it, we'll give it to them. And we
Yeah.
have all these live recordings because we record every show,
Mm.
every single show. And the reason we do that because we have this thing. Our sound engineers record every show because we do this virtual sound check. So what that means, the show a day ago, or 2 days ago, whatever, the last show that we played, we arrived to the new arena, the crew sets up, and they replay the last
Ah.
set. So they can hear, because sometimes you change tones on the guitar, this and that,
Mm.
little things change. And so they replay the show through the speakers in this new arena that we just arrived to. This particular room, every room sounds different, right?
Mm.
because they have the recording, the direct recording, how our instruments sounded like yesterday. And now, today, they're going to tweak it to this new room. That's why, we sound pretty solid everywhere we go, because that's how we do it.
Yeah.
But a side effect, we record every show.
Not
So
bad.
we have
Not
all
bad to
these
have.
live recordings.
I suppose you can also critique yourself, can't you? Because you
All
can go
right.
back and go, we weren't quite on form
Yeah,
there or
yeah, of
something.
course. Or
Mm.
each other.
Yeah.
Man, you really screwed that up.
I'm always screwed up on stage, so it doesn't matter.
Maybe listening back like, hey man, what happened there? Oh,
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen you.
exactly.
I mean, I've seen you a handful of times here in Australia, and I'm sure it's a few times. Maybe sometimes I was in Europe as well. You're always a great
Mhm.
live show. Like it's always an experience coming to see your band. So it's
Mhm.
good that it can translate somehow, in some way, to the album. Like as best you can. So
Right.
yeah. I think it's good to
I
have
mean,
on the
look,
end there.
that's exactly what I meant when I
Mm.
said like, yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, it's, even the songs, how did we pick these, why these 30 songs?
Ooh,
Fairly simple.
yes.
These were
Yeah.
the songs that the fans listened to the most, right? So we didn't go for like, okay, we have, which is crazy. We have 30 top 10 singles at this moment, right?
Mm.
I think 17 number ones, and 30
Wow.
top 10. So we could have picked those, but that's not what we did. We literally looked at the data on Spotify, on Apple Music, and looked at what are the 30 songs the fans listen to the most. Some of them are not singles, right? So
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well, this is what the fans want. This is the songs that matters to them. So let's record those.
I love
So
that.
that's how we pick them. Again, it's a
Yeah.
people's band. And then the live recording, you're right. We are a live band. We spent, especially the first 10 years of our career, we spent, I don't know, 200 days on the road every year, at least.
Mm.
So that's what we do. Always, that was our power. Even when the naysayers, or you always get some naysayers. The bigger the
Ah,
band is, the more naysayers you get. But in a second, they would see us in a festival, or with a band that they came to see, but they don't really necessarily like us. We converted a lot of people. I think that's why the band grew so fast. Because people are like, oh, Five Finger Death Punch, just a stupid name, and what is this thing? And then they come to the live show. I mean, it is what it is. Right?
well, I mean,
They
you
come
make
to the
good. Yeah.
live
Yeah.
show, and
Yeah.
and they go like, holy shit. And that's how we converted a lot of people, because we leave it on the stage.
Yeah.
And so they, the fans kind of demanded the live recording. So we're like, all right, well, we have it, so we can just put it on record.
Yeah. I mean, you are, to all intents and purposes, a hard-hitting heavy metal, heavy rock band, with a deep groove, right? So
Right.
live would be when people come, like you said, when people come and see you. Like I was listening, I looked at the set list, so the track listing on this new part two,
Mhm.
and yeah, I know, it was like I was surprised with some of them. I was surprised with some of them, which was good because I've not heard you play those tracks live. And so
Right.
when it was on here, it's like, brilliant. It's
You
sort of
know, you
had a
know
bit of
what that
smile.
is actually. Like I'll tell you why that happens. Well, again, we picked the 30 most popular songs because that's what the fans
Mm,
listen to. So and the band is still growing. So we figured like, well, we are still playing bigger and bigger. So after 20 years, we're
mm,
still going upward. So that means we are still recruiting fans.
mm.
We are the biggest unknown band. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
still there are a big portion of society that never heard of us, right?
yeah,
So if you wanted to recruit them, you would have to give them the songs that everybody else listened to, because obviously those are the ones, right?
yeah.
So that was how the decision for live. Why we don't play some of these songs? You know what it is? Imagine that you have to have a flow. For like, to give you an example,
Yeah,
you can't to kick down the door, and you have to. And it's not that it's science, but it's kind of. So
yeah,
you're gonna play a song that sort of kicks off the door, and it has to be a familiar song. It has to be an up-tempo song that people are really familiar with. And the reason for that is because your ear, you were listening to other bands before us, right? And
yes,
that's kind of shapes your hearing, sort of.
yeah,
Like you used to whatever sound. And when the moment the band start playing, it takes you about a song to get used to this sound. But if it's a familiar song that you know, it's much quicker, right? Because you know the
Ah,
lyrics, you know the song, so
yeah,
immediately, you play a song that's up tempo, so it does the energy picks up immediately. But it's a familiar song where you immediately tune your mind will tune your ear and your hearing to this band now because they tune differently between to B,
yeah,
those kind of things. So that's the science. You start with that, and then the next 2-3 songs all have to be up tempo, and a kick in the teeth,
yeah.
and maybe like the fifth spot in a set, but you can pull that energy, play something nice, then pick it up again. Somewhere three
So flow,
quarters
yeah.
into the set, you can drop maybe a couple of.
Mm,
There has to be a flow, right?
mm,
And so what happens when you, let's say, when you look at radio and for whatever reason, the songs that get popular are usually not the kick, the teeth kicking songs. It's usually the more emotionally charged ballad-ish, slower
mm.
tempo songs. I can't play a set and a half that would work.
Yeah, yeah. It's not for you,
You
is
know
it?
what I mean?
Yeah.
So songs, we
Mm,
have to figure it works what in what was and so many times, yeah, many times I go and just play a song and be like, can if you wanted to play your 30 most pop, that 3 hours.
yeah.
I mean, we don't have that long of a set, and maybe one day, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. As I said, the album itself is. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I mean, I first saw you 20
Me
years ago,
neither. So
so
that
20 years
that
is
makes it two of
crazy.
us.
I remember first picking up one of your
What
CDs
did
and
you
going,
know? I tell you what. You know what is crazy? You know when it's crazy?
yeah,
When some kid runs up on us and goes, "Hey man, when I was a 10 years old kid, you guys pulled me on stage. Will you do that bit when we pull kids on
yeah,
stage
yeah,
and
yeah,
they can trash out with us, right?" And some kid would be like, "Hey, I was 10 years old and I was on stage rocking out with you guys." I'm looking at him like, "Bro, you like probably have 5 kids and you're like old now." And then I realize, like he's a full-on adult, like he's almost 30, and I'm like, holy cow. That's when it kind of downs on you down, like, oh my God. Or when a full-grown man tells me, like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to listen to you guys. I'm like, a kid? That's when you realize, like, oh my God, we are around for
Well,
20
I will tell
years.
you, my 30-year-old daughter listened to you when you first around. So when she was 10. So there we go. It all
Right.
comes around.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. We actually we're kind of generational for whatever reason. I
Yeah,
can literally see like there's a 10 years old kid with his dad and his grandpa, like the whole
wonderful,
family. You know what I mean? It happens all the time. I always
wonderful.
see that.
I love it. Well, again, thank you for coming on. Thanks for chatting. Good luck with the release of the
Absolutely.
second one. October, it comes up very soon, doesn't it? And not very far away. So
Yeah.
we will have it out
Couple of
there
weeks. Yeah.
a couple of weeks, and then we can bang out one and two continuously without any break,
Right.
and give ourselves earache.
Right. That's a lot of that punch for
That's a lot of death
us.
punch, but you know what? Sometimes you need it, right? All
Right.
right, man. Thanks for coming on. Bye, mate.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Bye.